there are specific issues that are unique to each party. And I'm going to kind of push you guys a little bit on the things that your critics say about you. Let's start with the ANC and the League. Andile, it's really not great that the League is being run by appointed leaders, not elected representatives, ahead of an election where youth are pretty important. What do you say to critics who think your organization is just a puppet of the ANC at the moment and has lost all of its fire and personality?
The fact of the matter is that the Youth League is the Youth League of the ANC, so it cannot be an independent structure. Remember that the process of restructuring is continuing, and I'm sure that those who will be elected after the conference will continue with that particular culture of being engaging within the ANC. And we don't understand why people think that we are going to go out and do a Malema, or how Malema used to address issues within the ANC. And if you look at all the processes that have happened after the disbandment, you have seen that we have great influence in the ANC in terms of the manifesto, in terms of the candidate list, and we are still engaging in a number of debates that we feel passionate about. But we're raising them within ANC structures, within forums that we are able to engage in. But we're not going to go the Malema route of being disingenuous and being rowdy and rude outside the ANC.
Mbali, it seems that your voters are always going on about the same thing, race, or your would-be voters. And, it just seems the DA just can't get away from this. Why do you think voters are largely unimpressed with you guys on this issue? And what are you doing to get it right?
The Democratic Alliance hasn't always been very good at selling our people and our personalities, and we've been quite focused on selling our policies and offers without maybe having that heart element, which I think is really what people mean when they talk about race when it comes to us. And I think that what we're doing to address that is, showing more and more that we're credible, that we have a diversity of leadership, that we have young people that are passionate about this country and that are, really in leadership positions that care and that are seen in their communities. And it's not something that's easy to get away from because it's something that obviously opposition parties like to throw in our face just because we are a diverse party. But it's something that I think as we get a young population and people grow up without the nostalgia of having any racist sentimentality, the DA is going to start seeing, the fruits there of what good work we've been doing.
I believe that particularly Mbali and others who are black members of the DA don't really volunteer their services. Actually, they're employed by the DA. And maybe that's the difference between us and them, that they are not there because they believe in the vision of the party, but they're there because it's a real job opportunity for them.
I'm so glad Andile asked this so I can just put everything out in the open. The first thing is, as office bearers in the DA, we don't actually get paid anything at all. So I mean, before I even became a counsel for the DA, I was working voluntarily in my national positions without getting paid a cent. And you don't do that unless you're passionate about what the party stands for and the cause that we're trying to advance. And that goes across the board for all office bearers. And I think we take quite a lot of pride in that because then what you do is you ensure that the right people are doing it for the right reasons and not just to be politically connected or thrown around onto different boards to make money, are actually the ones that are working.
The people who, particularly those who have defected lately, they've actually mentioned that they are actually used as tokens of, particularly in terms of the leadership structures. They are not just there to make a contribution, but they're there as tokens, and that's the issue that we're raising.
When the DA started, a lot of black people were voting for the ANC or the IFP, and as more black people have come in and started taking positions of leadership, it seems as though there's a sprinkling of a few, but that's just because of the way that the party is growing. I mean, not many black people are still sometimes suspicious of the party, so they're not coming into the party. But if you don't come into the party, then there's only going to be a few black people, and then you're going to say that it's tokens. I would challenge anyone to look at the credentials of any of the black people that hold leadership positions in the DA, and really interrogate them on that, rather than looking only on things like personality and perceptions. And nobody ever questions this about people in the ANC who frankly have far less credentials, even though there might be a lot of black people there. And so it's very rich to stand up and say, the DA has tokens, where the ANC has far more tokens who do less work and credible, but get away with it because people just think that they're black and they're in the ANC and must intuitively care about black people's issues.
This actually brings me to some of the reader questions that we've been getting. Penny Irvine said to us on our Facebook page, ask them why we have such a pathetically low standard of ethics and integrity in South African government. Watching the UK political stage, any hint of scandal results in resignation or suspension. What would you say to that kind of thing?
then it means that everyone who's accused and it's not proven will find themselves in jail. Justice means that they will need to also have a way of understanding what the circumstances are, and that's why there's a rule in law that says acte partam rule. So it means you have to be able to have equality and explain yourself in the law, and then you'll find guilty. Then there will be action.
Let's look at Nkandla. That's the big election issue that your party is facing right now. And what's happened is you've had one of your own Chapter 9 institutions come out and put forward a very damning report. And yet your party has said, we are waiting for the SIU investigation. We want to see why the interministerial task team investigation is different from the public protectors. Why are you guys not taking the own Chapter 9 institution seriously? I mean, the public protector's report should hold sway. You shouldn't be trying to get other opinions that will hopefully contradict her.
She's not a judge, one, and two, that it's a process that needs that it can be challenged. And we are saying that let everything be put there and it be scrutinized. SIU is coming in because we all know that there was wrongdoing. Companies that were involved there was wrongdoing in terms of invoices and everything. And SIU comes in to investigate the criminal part of it, which the public protector didn't get into it. And when the SIU says that ultimately that no, even President Zuma stole 10,000 rands from it, then there should be action taken.
I think it's just rich that the ANC decides when it will follow process and when it won't. I mean, the Democratic Alliance is still waiting for spy tapes that the court has said that President Zuma should be handing over. And when the public protector has investigated other matters that she's had preliminary findings on, the ANC has been the first to say that those people should be thrown under the bus. And I talk specifically of an incident where, preliminary she had some findings against the Democratic Alliance, which then weren't actually true. But there were no talks about processes and SIUs and all of this coming in now. So it's very rich that when it suits the ANC, they're able to say that things must happen the way that they want them to happen. Can Bandile honestly say that given the public protector's findings and the 246 million and knowing what that could have done for young people in this country as a representative of the youth, that he can still really stand and defend what has happened on Nkandla?
We're all disturbed by the amount of money that was used in the upgrade, and that's why we want to see and get to the bottom of it to understand how did the money get to it. And we suspect that there was wrongdoing, and those who are on the wrong, they must find themselves in the process of the law.
Any last thoughts that you would like to communicate to our viewers?
We have come a long way, and we still have got a long way to go. The journey that we have entered into in 1994 was not an easy one, and for now to have this type of a conversation over internet, and that to have a black DA youth leader there, it's quite a good progress that we've made. We've got a good story to tell, and we've made progress.
Mbali, last statements from you.
I think it's an exciting time to be a young person in South Africa. I think we our generation that holds so much of the past just in part of our collective consciousness, but really have such bright futures. And I think that we need to do credit to that by making sure that in these elections we really vote for a party that's going to be able to make sure that those futures are going to be able to materialize. And I think we should always honor where we've come from, but that we really need to be critical in our engagements with political parties and politicians, so that we make sure that when the 7th of May comes, we vote for the people that are going to do what's right for us as young people, whatever that might be that we choose.